Welcome back to the Shoeless Joe's podcast. Going to be the podcast heard around the world, and you haven't heard us in quite some time, world. But we're back, and from the Shoeless Joe's podcast, we'd like to wish you happy holidays, whatever it is you celebrated. All the holidays are out of the way. 2020 was a tough year. Yes. Happy New Year as well. 2020 was a tough year, kind of the reason we started this podcast. And so hopefully as the world continues to grow, this podcast continues to grow, and 2021 will be a better year, hopefully. But we've got a lot of topics for you guys now since everything is in full swing. As you know, the sport you love the most from us, didn't show it on the preview, but the NBA is back and in full swing. And the NFL playoffs are right around the corner, literally a week away. So much news with that. But first, let's get started with my least favorite team in New York and Mike and Obi's favorite team.
That's right, the New York Jets. But first, you know what I have to do. As always, we gotta plug everything. Twitter at Shoeless Joe's Pod, Instagram at Shoeless Joe's Pod. Obi, what button can they click? Link below in the description below. Hit the bell, turn on the notifications, subscribe.
Oh, right there.
Comment, do all of that. We appreciate that. And like Isaiah said, man, we started up this podcast just trying to get our ideas out there, have a platform to speak to you guys about sports and give our opinions. And I mean, we're very lucky to have that opportunity, and we want to keep growing. So 2021, the new year, hopefully a better year for everybody, and we just want to keep building. But I have a weird feeling that 2021 will not be a better year for our New York Football Jets. And you know why that is, Obi? They decided to wait until week 15 to throw all the great game plans they had together and win some football games, including week 16 when they just come off a win against progressive commercial quarterback Baker Mayfield. So obviously this win
has live sports.
Nah, that commercial is funny though with him and Saquon. Anyway,
I'm deep fake Saquon.
Obviously this win did not hurt as much because they already kind of sealed their fate by winning last week. But I guess it finally put that final nail in the coffin, and now we're basically solidified at the second pick in this draft. So I guess the dreams of Trevor Lawrence have disappeared. And as you can see by my Twitter feed, I've quickly deleted all the Trevor Lawrence tweets and just keep posting pictures of Sam Darnold.
Really?
No, I didn't, but I do.
He's planned on it. He plans to get to it.
I have began posting all my Sam Darnold propaganda again, so we'll see how that goes. But now that it's second pick, I mean, how did you feel about those wins, Obi? And what I already know who you want them to go or look forward with that pick. But tell the audience where you're thinking.
All right. So those two wins, one, I want heads to stop saying on Twitter, what are the Jets thinking of doing winning games? No professional athlete goes out there and tries to lose. You are out of your goddamn mind if you think that. But it was a great effort by the Jets, back-to-back weeks. We could think let's not think, but COVID had something to do with our winning. Baker Mayfield was throwing a couple of tight ends. But that second pick, I don't even think we need the second pick at this point. Might as well try to get some value out of that, trade back, and go get that talented boy at LSU that is better than the offensive rookie of the year this year, and go get Jamar Chase, man.
And the thing is that this team is so. I feel like this team is really bad, but there's also, you look at it and the games that they played in, there was a lot of winnable games that they didn't win. I mean, some could argue that they lost some of them on purpose, and then decided to mess it up in the end. But I mean, you look at this draft, and the question is, because like I agree, I think that they should trade out of that second pick. But the question is that what team is hungry enough for a quarterback that they will move up to number 2 to make that move for Justin Fields? And so we'll have to see how that market develops. But I think Joe Douglas had a decent draft class this year. So if they can get another first-round pick and then they have 3 first-round picks in this draft, I think that's – drafting the NFL is huge, and that's how you turn teams around. So if you combine that with cap space, it could be a quick turnaround. But, I mean, the Twitter is still in flames that the Jets are winning games, and I don't blame them. But when Trevor Lawrence is down there in Jacksonville lighting it up next year, it's gonna be a topic of conversation for sure. As a resident Jets hater, Isaiah. What did you feel watching these games unfold?
I wouldn't say I'm a Jets hater. I would just say being a fan of the Big Brother team in New York.
The
Because
Buffalo Bills?
we're definitely discounting Buffalo, but a fan of the Big Brother team who plays in the same stadium. I just think the turmoil of the Jets is funny. Like getting C.J. Mosley, him getting hurt, him not even like playing for you guys really. I just think it's hilarious. Le'Veon Bell not working out. I just think everything bad happening to them is it's sort of like the fun poked at the Knicks, because the Jets winning a game literally made them the biggest topic of discussion, and like all of the NFL and all NFL topics. Like people were so like just so dumbfounded by them having won a game. And I agree with you guys. Like you shouldn't want to lose every game. And of course, those, like if you watch the games, the Jet games, the players weren't like bummed out that they were winning. They were like really excited, because that is all they really wanted the entire time. Hopefully Adam Gase is gone by next year. I hope you guys get some cemented proof of him leaving in the coming weeks. Because if that didn't happen, I think that would be the icing on top of the cake. Like that would be hilarious to me.
I mean, last year they got fooled last year, and then they were like, oh, they went 6-2 down the stretch. They're gonna do it again next year, and it's like, yeah, well, they're playing garbage teams and games that don't matter, so I would expect them to win. So hopefully the owner does not get fooled by 3 wins. But I mean, I feel like once you won that first game, I would have fired him after the win. Yeah, they 2 wins, whatever. If they win against New England.
Question: like, you think they go hopefully when Adam Gase is fired, do they go the young route, or do they try to get a proven coach?
I don't know. That's the thing, because like I think the young route is kind of like when you draft a quarterback. But like I feel like Sam Darnold is so young that like that's still an avenue that they can explore. I mean, the thing that people were talking about a lot that I think is definitely true, but might not hold as much weight as people think is like, oh, like that job was so attractive because of the draft picks, the cap space, and like obviously the thought of being able to coach Trevor Lawrence. But I mean, I still think those things still kind of apply. And like obviously Trevor would have put them over the top, but I still think that they can get some solid head coaching candidates. I mean, especially if you're willing to pay enough money for him. And then I know that me and Obi have been talking about Eric Bieniemy for a while now, and I don't know if it'll take a lot of money and a great opportunity to pull him away from Kansas City. But I mean, you got to think that after what he's done there, that he kind of wants to go do it on his own, and hopefully that'll be a possibility.
And I got a backup plan if the enemy plan doesn't go on.
I would love to hear it.
Playing Oklahoma,
Lincoln Riley. I feel like people have been trying to get Lincoln Riley out of Oklahoma for a couple of years now, and
all that man does is produce Heisman winners, man. That shit is ridiculous, bro. I can't remember his name. Rattler, bro,
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler is a demon, bro. Oh my goodness, it's not fair what Lincoln Riley can do with quarterbacks, man. It's not fair at all.
I just want somebody else in here that doesn't run the ball with Frank Gore 4 times in a row. And I mean, I guess that's a good segue to talk about the other football team in New York that is also bad, which is Isaiah's New York Football Giants.
Bad, but not bad enough.
Right. So when you lose this week and you get the 8th pick and you're just mediocre, you're gonna be upset. So you better win that game, because otherwise this year was for nothing.
There's a lot banking on this game. My girlfriend's dad is a Washington football team fan, and so obviously I don't want to hear his mouth running if they beat the Eagles and then we lose. And of course, I don't think anyone in the world besides Obi's other half wants to see the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs after the year they've had.
And Andy Dalton.
And Andy Dalton led Dallas Cowboys. So I think there's a lot riding on this game for the New York Giants. I mean, it'd be the only bright spot of this season, because you haven't seen enough of Daniel Jones to think, besides him running 90 yards and tripping, there hasn't been a lot of good for Daniel Jones this year. So I guess getting into the playoffs would be a big step. I don't think we could take out any team we would play. I think who would we play?
I think you play. I just looked. I think it's either you won your division, so I think it would either be.
Oh yeah.
Brady or the Rams, or if all right, but if the Rams lose and Chicago gets in, I think it could be Chicago. But otherwise, I don't know how the matchups exactly work. I would assume that you'd play the 5 seed. I'm not really sure, but I think that if you face Tampa Bay, GG's. But
I don't know if that's GG's. I think they're kind of on and off. I just got to see enough, bro. Let me have faith in my team, Obi.
Losing to the damn Giants.
They almost did. Daniel Jones got his first win against Tampa Bay before they had
Tom Brady.
Before they had Tom. And Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but
and Antonio Brown. And Gronk.
Nah, it is a lot. All right, it's enough. All right, I think just to get into the playoffs and to have a division title, I think could be a really big bright spot. Andrew Thomas has been stepping it up. Xavier McKinney is only now getting minutes and trying to work. Logan Ryan made the Pro Bowl.
Got an extension.
And just got an extension too. So I think there's a lot of bright spots.
It's a 3-year deal, right?
Getting Saquon Barkley back next year, hopefully as a whole new thing, like a whole new dimension to the offense. Thanks. Yeah, that they don't have this year running like Alfred Morris. Wayne Gallman is nice, but has been shoddy in some points. And then Deion Lewis, who left New England and couldn't do jack. But
back.
But yeah, I guess that would be I just don't want the Cowboys to get in. I guess I could deal with the football team getting in. But the Dallas Cowboys getting in would be so annoying just to hear on TV. Like just to hear in the news the Dallas Cowboys.
But they got more firepower than any other team in the NFC.
They don't deserve it.
Even if they get in or not get in, they're going to be talked about nonstop. So it doesn't really matter what
they are. America's team.
But this weekend is going to be really interesting. I know that Philly definitely wants to play spoiler, especially how things ended down there in Dallas last week. Who knows what's happening with Washington? One quarterback is on their couch, the other one is injured. So I wonder who's going to be playing quarterback for them this week. And then the Giants.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
He did it to himself, and not to go down that tangent, but like.
At the end of the day, he did.
Got his captain's badge stripped away, got benched, and then cut. Oh my goodness, bro!
Can you imagine drafting a quarterback in the first round and having to cut him 2 years later? That's cut him like that is unimaginable. And honestly, I think like if Alex Smith plays, I think they have a really good chance. Just because they've been solid all year, like they haven't been like this great team, but they've been in there most games. So I think if Alex Smith plays, they have a real chance. And then that leaves if they win that game, then obviously Isaiah's Giants are done. But I think that Dallas is beatable. They've looked better the last couple of weeks, and if push comes to shove, they'll just run the ball a million times with Zeke. But they need Daniel Jones to step up and
touching the ball. Tony Pollard is touching that ball, man.
Actually, he didn't. He should be because he's better for that offense, but he wasn't last week because I started him in fantasy and he didn't do nothing. So they keep giving the ball to Zeke for no reason, bro. And that joint is annoying, bro.
Tony Pollard is a dog.
He is. He's tough.
He's nice.
They need to run him more, and he's good in the passing game too.
He is way better than Zeke in the passing game. Cool.
I do think that the Redskins, from what they showed this year, especially getting to the end of the year, they're really a quarterback away from being a pretty good team because Terry McLaurin is a Pro Bowl type receiver, an All Pro type receiver.
He's been playing with scrub quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Antonio Gibson is good too when he's gotten his minutes too.
And yeah, and they have a real coach in there.
Logan Thomas had 92 yards at tight end.
Yeah, the guy been picking up off waivers in fantasy every other week just to fill in spots. And then Riverboat Ron, who allegedly, according to Twitter, has beat cancer twice now. So that's good for him. That was a quality meme.
I knew I was going to throw that in there.
That's a great meme. That's a great meme. It's kind of messed up.
Sooner or later, when we learn how to edit, they'll see the meme we were talking about.
I'm saying the meme will be right here, but I can't do it.
I'm saying, but it was Dwayne Haskins and him actually beating cancer, ringing the bell. But
you're ringing the bell
2 times.
Oh, that's nuts, bro.
All right, But now, transitioning away from this terrible division and moving on to a division that's also terrible, but not as terrible. It's a two-team division, really, and that is the AFC South with the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. So basically, Tennessee, if they win, they're in, and the Colts have a way more complicated scenario. Um, According to ESPN, the Colts have to win, and one of the following must also happen: Tennessee must lose, Baltimore has to lose, Cleveland has to lose, or Miami has to lose. Which, when you hear it like that, it doesn't sound that crazy because they just need a win and one of the other playoff teams to lose. But going against, I think they're playing Jacksonville, right? That
Mhm.
shouldn't be a difficult task for them to hold up their part of the bargain. So we look at this wild scenarios in the AFC right now. And of those four teams, we have the Titans, the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Colts. And the only team that doesn't control their own destiny is Indy, like we said, just because they have to lose. They need one of those other teams to lose. So based on that, who do you guys think is the team that misses the playoffs? Is it Indy because they have to someone else has to lose,
Wait,
or do you
who
think that
plays
one
who?
of these teams? So the
Indy
Colts
plays
play the
Jacksonville.
Jaguars, the Browns play the Steelers, the Ravens play the Bengals, the Dolphins play the Bills, and the Titans play the Texans. Um, I mean, a lot of these depend on also like rest and what teams want to do. But like, I assume that if Pittsburgh has home field, they might rest Ben just because he hasn't looked great anyway,
Mhm.
or maybe he needs the reps. Who knows? Josh
Yeah.
Allen, if they're not going to get home field, I would assume. Actually, they're still a race for home field, considering that Pittsburgh was dropping games left and right. So maybe the Heat does end up playing, and then that puts Miami in a difficult place. Um, the Colts, I mean, all those teams have a chance to win their respective games, but who do you think is the team that's on the outside looking in at the end of next weekend?
If I had to pick out of all those teams, I would say Miami, only because of their little quarterback situation that they'll have Tua start the game, and then as soon as the fourth starts, they gotta pull him because he's not ready for prime time. But if I had to pick, and if it's not Miami, it's probably gonna be the Browns, to be honest. But I think Miami's probably gonna drop the ball unless they start Ryan Fitzpatrick off rip. I think today on ESPN they was calling Ryan Fitzpatrick the sixth man of the NFL.
Yeah.
It was funny.
No, yeah, I have to agree. Those two teams definitely are the biggest at risk. I think based off of who they play first and like what needs to happen if like what could happen if like what happens if they lose. So Miami against Buffalo, I know it does come down to like who they start or whatever. But I think the team is just better than the Dolphins, regardless of record. So I think if I had to pick between the two, though, you said Miami, so I'm gonna say Cleveland. I'm gonna say Cleveland doesn't beat the Steelers.
And the thing is that really is possible just because, like, even if they don't start Big Ben, but they start a lot of their defense, and who knows what happens with this COVID situation in Cleveland. Like, I would assume that if those tests come back negative, then the whole receiving core will be back and ready to go, and that'd be huge for them. But I
A
mean,
little bye week.
they struggled. Yeah, they struggled to run the ball this week. But I mean, like, that makes sense because if you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and you know that there's no one to throw the ball to outside, I'm putting 11 people
Stacking
in
that
the
box.
box and see what else happens. Um, so I mean, and I don't see Tomlin resting like Minka or Watt or
Yeah, I don't.
every
Yeah, he
single
got too
person on
much
that
pride to
defense.
do that.
Every single.
Yeah, because they're ridiculous. So Baker might. I mean, Baker. Who knows? Baker's had good games, great games this year against in big moments. Obviously, the game last week is a really weird scenario. You practice a full week with your starting guys, and all of a sudden Saturday you have 4 practice squad guys out there at receiver. That obviously gives him really no chance, especially when they're loading the box against with a team that is kind of predicated on the run and then the play action off that.
Hmm.
It really put him in a bad situation. So, I mean, hopefully he bounces back for his sake. I mean, I'd rather see them in the playoffs than Philip Rivers, but I mean, the Colts are a really solid team,
What
and
you gotta give
honestly,
Philip
any of these
Rivers?
teams,
It's Philip
it's not
Rivers.
against Philip Rivers. I just think it's more interesting. Like, I've seen Philip Rivers in the playoffs before, like many times, and nothing's happened. So I want to see what Baker does in that kind of situation.
Fair
But
point.
I
Fair
mean,
point.
it's going to be interesting. I really I don't know. I'm kind of counting out Miami as well personally. I mean, The Titans should be fine. Just give the ball to Derrick Henry and move out, and then throw a
Call
read
it a
option
game.
in there, and you'll be all right. And then, especially if Deshaun doesn't play, then at that point, this guy JJ Watt's gonna be flipping chairs in the locker room.
The locker room,
So who really knows what
the
happened?
field.
And the Zoom
Yeah,
camera on the press
He'll be tight
conference.
on the 8K camera.
Oh, we got to talk about the 8K cameras because the way that the NFL on Fox has upstepped their game up with these
Clear
cameras,
as day.
clearer than day, clearer than
Bro.
what I would see with my own eyes.
Destroying cameras all over the world. I didn't even know cameras could get that clear.
Bro,
Which is
when
insane.
y'all sent that in the chat talking about 8K, I was like, what are y'all talking about? I looked at my TV, I said, oh.
Bro, I was watching it. I was
They should do a
watching
whole
games I
game
didn't
like
care
that.
about. That's what I'm saying. I was watching games I did not care about just to see the touchdown celebrations so they could zoom in on the cameras.
Not even the celebrations, them walking away from the celebration.
Yeah.
Bro,
Jalen
it's
Hurts scored a touchdown that
unreal.
didn't count. The thing is, it looks so real that it looks fake. Like, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't even, like, I don't know. I just want to see more. Like, I guess Fox must be the only one with that kind of technology right now because they're kind of like monopolizing it right now. I've never seen it anywhere else yet, and it's only started like week 13, 14. So
Yeah, it was late.
I'd love to see that in a playoff game. That'd be so cool. Are you guys have any other thoughts on the NFL or the playoff picture before we transition to our bread and butter?
Nah, but
If we could skip ahead to the Super Bowl, I'm gonna have to throw my homeboy in there, bro. I'm gonna just say that it's theirs to lose again.
And I mean, I think we all want to see that Rodgers Patrick Mahomes matchup if we can get it somehow. I mean, that would be talk about a shootout of all shootouts. That would be must see football. And obviously, like, whatever, I don't know what's happening in New Orleans, and the same thing that the Jets did to the Browns this week. Honestly, even if Drew Brees is starting, just throw 10 guys in the box and then put somebody else on Mike Thomas's slant, and then you should be all right.
Mike Thomas isn't even playing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So then, I mean, the playoffs are really going to be interesting, and I don't know if anyone will really give Mahomes a run for their money. I mean, I don't trust Ben's arm right now because he really can't throw the ball with any.
don't trust Lamar.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I mean, that team as a whole, I don't trust right now.
I mean, I think the only real team that has a chance is Buffalo, just because like they can really slow the game down and then just throw Josh Allen at linebackers and watch him run them
What
all.
about Tennessee?
Now Tennessee's interesting too because they can really control the game, and we saw like last year in the playoffs what they did with like Mike Vrabel just outsmarting other coaches. I don't think he'll outsmart Andy Reid, but I mean, when you have the ability to run the ball like that and then have a quarterback who can also run the ball but also make all the other plays outside of that, I mean, if there's a recipe to beat Mahomes, that'd probably be it, just to keep the ball out of his hands for as long as possible. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
No.
That run game.
Don't know.
I don't even that's a wishful thinking, I guess, because there's really no blueprint how to beat this kid at all.
There isn't. He's constantly adjusting.
Speaking of teams that can't be beaten, we're transitioning to the NBA. The New York Knicks.
Oh, we are. That can't be beaten unless they're beaten twice.
I say it can't be beaten unless they're playing a team from Milwaukee. Obi's Milwaukee Bucks.
All right.
I mean, and obviously, as a New York-based podcast, we have to talk about both teams, the bigger brother and the younger brother. So let's
not give the big brother younger brother yet. I'm just catching up. But I think the Knicks could be the big brother right now until the Nets do something in the playoffs.
What?
Bro, you can.
We know who the bigger brother is. The rest of the world knows who the bigger brother is.
I'm saying the ones with the worst ratings, because it can't be the Nets, because no one's tuning in to watch the games. They dropped the ratings, and that shit was
Yes Network
was not great. I'll tell you that. I mean, we know
they should get more
know,
televised games though.
Listen, I know we're on the NBA right now, but I just want to say a report came in on my phone, and Bill Belichick is throwing the telephone around.
Throwing the telephone?
Bro,
on the sideline?
Yes, there's a telephone that's on the sideline, and he's throwing that shit around right now.
They're not even in the playoffs anymore.
Bro, how mad do you have to be to throw? How mad do you have to be to throw something twice? Like, you got to throw it and then pick it up and throw it again. That's another. Okay, I just got the report. Pats head coach is pissed on sideline as they trail 31-9 to Bills in third quarter. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with the playoffs, so we can even have that discussion about Brady or Belichick. I guess we can leave that alone for now. But going back to the NBA, I mean, of course, you have to talk about our New York Knicks on the Shoeless Joe's podcast. And all I really want to say is that there was a lot of questions this whole offseason about what this team would look like, how Tibbs would make this roster work, if Tibbs was the right coach, et cetera. A million questions that are all warranted because it's the Knicks, and they should have definitely been asked. But right now, I'm looking at what I see, and I'm happy. Like, I don't expect like a playoff team. I don't expect like even like a 35 win or a 30 win team. Like I just want to see basketball that I can watch night in and night out and not be disgusted with. And I'm getting that. I mean, obviously, going into the last night's game against the Bucks, I penciled it down as a W before I even turned on an L before I even turned on my TV. So to see them have a wire-to-wire performance like that against such a good team was really impressive. And just the way that Tibbs has them playing hard, playing actual NBA defense, having like I just think that Knicks fans have been so disconnected from what a modern NBA basketball team looks like just because of the like what Fizdale was doing and Fisher before that and Hornacek and all that. So to see them playing to see them playing well, I mean, to see Randall playing the way he's playing, like we all season Knicks fans were like, get Randall out of here, and now he's like with a real coach, he's their best player, and he's playing like it, and it's not even close. He's averaging like 21, 8, and 6 through 3 games, and I don't see any reason why he can't keep doing that. Alec Burks is averaging 18 a game. RJ's taking the next step. I mean, that's all you can ask for. Like they're building the foundation of a team that looks competent, and that's all Knicks fans wanted this year was competence. So,
no, yeah, 100%. I agree. I think definitely need to stress that we knew with Tibbs coming in that what we were going to get was a strong defense and a good defense schematically, and the fact that players are able to adapt that well. I know we're only 3 games in, but like even against a team who is for sure going to make the playoffs in Milwaukee, to be able to be on the same to be at the same level as them on defense and stay in the game, and not only stay in the game, but like almost 20 points is a blowout to me. I don't care how close it was during the game. At the end of the game, it was 20, so that's a blowout to me.
I mean, yeah, no, they were up by like 28 at points in the fourth quarter. Like they were up by a lot, and like I was always waiting for that run in the second half, and the closest they got in the second half was like 12 or 13. So to see them do that was really impressive. But
there was a point
and those guys stepping up. Oh my fault.
This is good. I was watching the next game. I did not watch the game because I saw that they was down by 10 and said it's not looking good. But you said 28.
No, they were down by after 4 for 4 from Frank Ntilikina from 3. Frank Ntilikina, 4 straight threes from Frank. They were down by like 28.
Frenchman.
I was looking through I do follow a lot of Bucks Twitter. The Giannis updates. I didn't watch the game, but from you guys' perspective, were they really like running a lot of sets? Like, I heard the Bucks were really like running in transition. Like you guys forced them to run like a couple of sets that they probably use in the playoffs.
Yeah, they did have to slow down.
No, and
which was the thing that stopped them.
Yeah, and every time, one thing that someone pointed out on like Knicks Twitter was like every time Giannis got a fast break bucket, no matter what the score was, Tibbs just called timeout. Like anytime they saw momentum building, anytime Giannis got a big play that seemed like a momentum shifter, it was just a timeout. And obviously the Knicks are not going to shoot 57% or 59% from 3 like they did like always, and Elfrid Payton's not going to play like that, and the Bucks are not going to shoot 18% from 3. But I mean, the defense that they played was like legit. Like Mitch played real defense. I mean, they bottled up the guards. Like Brook Lopez, like I don't even think he scored. Like I don't remember him off the top of my head scoring. Like he probably did, but I mean, they just weren't getting shots to fall. They made sure to trap around Giannis and make the rotations. I mean, they played a really good game. And I mean, it just to see like the way that Tibbs is able to use Randall and kind of lose him as like they talked about him as like a point forward last year, but now actually doing that and seeing it with like real results is really good to see. Like him just getting the ball at the elbow, taking 2 dribbles, making a read, and letting the play unfold from there. And then I guess the other story with the Knicks right now is kind of just like the the players who are there long term that they need to show flashes are showing flashes. Like, and that's all they need. Like Kevin Knox, the whole thing was that he didn't even look like an NBA player the last 2 years because he was unplayable on defense and looked scared on offense. And both of those problems appear to be addressed. Like Mitchell Robinson's not fouling. Like there was points in this game where he got switched on to Giannis and like wasn't committing those stupid fouls and actually playing real defense and giving Giannis problems at some points. I mean, Giannis is still going to do what Giannis does, but I mean, for him to be in that position is impressive. And I just hope they can keep building on this and and just lay the foundation, like I said.
With a coach like Tibbs, I think for players to be coachable and for players to, buy into a system is really important because he's not really like a player's coach. Like that hasn't been his forte. His forte is like he's coming in and he's telling you what to do. And if you do it, it will work to a certain degree because he's proven himself as a good coach already. He has had stars in the past, but if everyone's buying in and like you said, like Julius Randle taking that point forward role, but like not every time him bringing the ball down the court, not like carte blanche for him to do whatever he wants and the offense run through him every single play. Like understanding that he's the best player and the most skilled player that we have right now, especially the hottest player who's like playing the best. So for him to like just buy into the role that he's here, they're not going to be the best team in the world. The expectations came out last year that they were trying to make the playoffs. So maybe that was like a monkey on his back, but he's playing a lot more fluid now.
And I think like while this team is not like have a lot of top end talent, I just think they have a lot of versatility that makes them very like it makes it very interesting to things that they can do, both like defensively, but also like the fact that you can bring RJ can bring up the ball, like Alfred Payton or Quickly or Randall or Alec Burks. Like they have a lot of different ways that they can create offense. And I feel like you're seeing it now that even if they don't have those top end players, like they're creating like legitimate NBA offense, like because of the system, like because of the movement, because of the way that Tibbs is scheming it up, and that you can only imagine how that offense will continue to grow and look better when they upgrade like the offensive firepower that they have and put more weapons around RJ. And I know like Obi told me about it and told Zay about it, like how he feels about RJ and what RJ's shown. So maybe you want to expand on that.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on this draft. For the Knicks, I thought they would go and get like that tone setter, that culture setter, and I was really like adamant on them going and getting a guy like Cole Anthony, like a guy that's really vocal in the locker room. Like he's been a leader. He knows what this city's about. But it looks like RJ's taking those steps into becoming that guy. Even in the preseason, like he was taking those steps as a leader, moving Obi Toppin into the right defensive positions, offensive sets. I I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Alex Berg actually, like trying to make sure that everybody's in the right spot. Uh, he's that guy that's always talking, always making sure that he's just out hustling everybody, and I like that. Like I'm liking that he's taking that initiative in his second year, and even even in his game, like offensively, like he's showing that he's getting to those spots that he was weak at last year, and he's improving. He's hitting those shots, even off the dribble too. So and he's showing the consistency. So it's great to see that he's taking that pride in being in New York and taking those next steps.
No, yeah, and I agree. Like I think like obviously the first game was like kind of an anomaly where he goes 9 for 9 in the first half and he's like draining threes because I don't think he hasn't made a three since since that game. But I mean, like even when you looked at when they played Philly and first of all, like I think it's a massive sign of respect that they're putting Ben Simmons on RJ. With Ben Simmons probably being a top 5 defender, top 10 defender, definitely an All NBA defender in this league, to put him on RJ. And obviously RJ had like an abysmal night, 2 for 15 scoring. But if you look at his stat line at the end of that game, he 10 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. Like he still does all the other things. He's like he wasn't scared to keep going at him. Like if he fails, he fails, kind of thing. Like and I respect that. Like playing defense, still doing that. Like you like RJ may not ever be like the number one guy on like a real on a winning team, like a championship team, but he does all the little things. Like he has the mentality, the work ethic, everything to be someone that you build around and as part of your foundation of a team. So to see that, and then obviously to hopefully fill in everything else around that, with Mitch being solid and hopefully Knox and Obi and all that. Like I think that they're definitely in a solid place right now. But to transition to the team in New York that is currently competing for championships and rings. I'm not
Big
sure.
brother.
Yeah, I don't know. No, not that. The little brother is down in Brooklyn, Atlantic Terminal down there. Um, I'm not sure who Obi's a fan of nowadays, just because the Bucks played and he didn't watch them. He watched the Nets instead. So maybe he's a Nets fan. But I
I
mean,
don't know why you
as
call me out on that.
Let's take shot on
I don't know.
Obi
I
Day.
don't know.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
ain't have to call me out on that, but it's not like you didn't know who I was jacking first.
So I know you haven't missed a minute of Nets basketball yet. So
I mean,
what is
I
your
haven't
analysis?
don't lie to you. I have not.
What have your thoughts been so far on the Brooklyn
Uh,
Nets and their quest for a championship this year?
AD is back. AD is that man. I really like, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Watching that like gave me chills, bro. Watching the game, for the last 3 games, like he's getting to his spots, he's in his shot. Like it does not look like he's coming off an Achilles injury. He looked like the same killer that left the game as a year ago. And it's really scary that him and Kyrie are actually figuring this out. I feel like I feel like it has to be Steve Nash. That nobody there's no egos on that team, man. And like they all know like it has to run through the both of them. It goes through them first and then everybody else eats afterwards. It's sad what happened yesterday too, because I guess Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the year now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was kind of playing that like initiator role, like a Iguodala role. Like he wasn't scoring, but he was doing everything else. He's doing all the little things. And I'm trying to remember his name. Timothy
TLC,
TLC.
Lualo Cabarro.
Yeah, there we go. Like he came. Well, like I guess the Nets have that next man up. You know what I mean? Because he stepped in and he filled in his role. He was knocking
And
down the shots, playing good
he was playing
defense.
well tonight too. When with obviously KD and Kyrie out tonight, I was only watching until like halftime, but he was playing well. And like yeah, like you said about KD, like I don't think there was any doubts about that. I mean, there was questions, but I feel like just the way he was built and like the way that he plays a game, that I didn't think that the injury would really impact him that much. And like so far it hasn't, and hopefully it doesn't, because like obviously no one wants like those kind of injuries to linger. And like
Shot blocking away though.
yeah, ask Terry Rozier. But
Oh.
and PJ Washington actually.
I'm not gonna lie, the
Oh.
PJ one he blocked. The PJ one he definitely blocked, but
Into the hoop.
It counted as 2 points, right?
it did. But he definitely blocked it though.
No, but nah, I mean, they're definitely fun to watch. Like obviously Kyrie, like before he went to the Nets, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Before he went to the Nets, you guys know how much I loved Kyrie and his game, and everything he could do with the basketball is just special. And the same thing goes for KD. So to have them on the same court and to see them trying to figure out that dynamic is going to be really interesting the whole year. But I mean, even you saw them trying to like figure it out like last night with who gets what shots and how they can create for one another. Like outside of like just like a simple pick and roll. I mean, even in that game last night, they lose and KD got a look that not like 8 times out of 10 he's making it. I mean, he missed a shot. It's not a big deal.
That's probably how they're gonna end games. Just that pick and roll with KD and Kyrie, and they just figure it out
And
from
what
there.
and what can you really do as a defending team? Like you just
I'm
gotta.
saying it's either you're gonna go double Kyrie or you gotta leave KD and force him to take a midi. I'm
You
Even
can
if you
sorry.
got Joe Harris inbounding, hey, he's just coming around. That man can knock down a shot from anywhere.
Yeah, it's just hoping that they miss at this point. Like I don't really know what else to
Yeah,
say.
they're a lot deeper than I thought they were. Like to
I'm
watch all
telling
those
y'all
guys on
that
the floor, to see Torian Prince come on the floor, I was
Jeff
like,
Green, bro. Jeff Green
yeah,
is dead a problem
Jeff Green
too.
too. I was just like, oh wow, they do have a lot of bodies.
Landry Shamet,
Yeah, I mean he was bricking the other night,
he wasn't the
which is
night.
probably the reason they lost. But yeah, he's usually on from the Clippers. Um, Here's my thing with the NBA in general is like, sure, I'm excited to see the Knicks and the steps they could have taken, but we're 3 games in tonight. People are playing their 4th game. Um, for the I think it's a little early to say what teams are good and what teams are bad, but I don't think it's too early to say that the Nets can win because I've seen enough of like just KD and Kyrie being able to coexist the way they have in the past couple of games has been enough for me to say that they're going to be competing for a championship, if not this year, then next year once they get everything together. Because just because they're both killers, like they both can turn it on and off when they want. KD was going on Christmas Day. KD went into like the second half with like 6 points.
8 points. 8 points.
With 8 points, and then just lit it up in the third, like just to take the lead.
Was going at it.
Yeah,
but that's the thing.
Was
like,
crazy.
That's the thing. Like, even in that game on Christmas, like, all right, realistically speaking, like, you don't want to get into a battle of like who's gonna miss first with Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. Like, even if you're Jason Tatum and you're a bucket, and we know that you're a bucket, like that's not a game that you want.
Or
to
how
play
long will they continue to miss?
Yeah, that's not a game that you want to play with as an NBA team. So, I mean, and like honestly, like even though you guys know I'm a Nets hater, and I'm proud of it, but I mean, there's not like I don't think that ego will get between KD and Kyrie.
Didn't I catch you at the Barclays Center?
You did before that was on the map, so it wasn't as bad.
Catch
but
it.
You want
go together.
I'm saying this guy went with me.
Caught you, took the ride with him.
I got
to catch you on the bus, on the train, all the way to.
Did I catch you there too, Isaiah? Did I catch you there?
As a matter of fact, I posted a picture with you and K-Ron at like this.
I'm saying shout out to K-Ron's pops for getting us.
I'm saying shout out to Boar's Head. Appreciate it.
I don't think it's Boar's Head. I think it's his cousin that he does.
Oh, I thought it was Boar's Head.
Cousin, the security guard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jacking us. He's trying to get a lot of me.
That's all right, Chris.
Stay up there.
So I had to delete the picture of me at Barclays from my Instagram just in case any receipts came up.
Man, you was there to see Dame.
I was because who was on the Nets at that point in time?
Dame went stupid that game.
I think Dame, CJ, and Nurkic all had like 25 plus that night.
Bro, Dame had a quiet like 30 something.
Yeah, and CJ had 30. Quiet. I think Nurkic had like a game-winning tip-in or something like that. It was a crazy game.
They barely beat the Nets.
Yeah, I don't even know who was. Yeah, I don't even know who was on the Nets at that point. But I mean, like I was saying, like I don't think that ego is gonna come between KD and Kyrie. Like I think they went there for a reason. Like their friendship was the reason that this team even exists. So I don't think that ego will really get between them. I mean, you never really know. Like you saw like the thing on like Instagram Live when Kyrie was talking about how many post touches he's gonna get, and KD was like, "Yeah."
We talked about it 3.
He was talking about 7 or 8, and KD was like, "I don't know. We'll see when the season comes." We'll ask.
Yeah, but they're talking it out. Like they're coexisting really well, which is I guess kind of annoying as a fellow Nets hater, but I'm gonna let them rock.
And like I think the Dinwiddie injury, like, that sucks, especially for him. Like he was in a position to get paid soon. Like I don't know if he wants to get paid in like real currency or Bitcoin or whatever his situation was, but I don't know what he was trying to figure that out.
Currency.
Yo, every moment you get to take a shot, anybody on the Nets, you're gonna take it.
Open season, bro. You're crazy. No, but I think like for real though, like with him missing time, like it's gonna hurt them because like obviously KD, like with Kyrie, like injury history and like KD missing games because of like just like planned because of like the rehab or whatever. They were gonna really need him. And so they're gonna need LeVert to step up like on tonight when like KD and Kyrie aren't out. And then so that's gonna hurt them. And then if they can't stay healthy. But also like I saw this on Twitter and I was wondering what you guys think. Like, do you guys think that they should stagger like KD and Kyrie's rest days, or like how do you think they should handle that? Because like I think that they need to build that chemistry, but they also need them to make it to the playoffs. Because if they make it to the playoffs healthy together, then like that's the biggest obstacle for them, in my opinion.
I think what they're doing right now is fine. Like those back-to-backs, I wouldn't play them, but just keep building the chemistry. Like they have to be on the floor together. Like you see what happened with AD and Braun. Like I know Braun was aging and AD had like an injury history, but the Lakers made sure as much as possible they would get those guys on the floor. They wouldn't be stupid like the Clippers and saying, this guy will play this day, this guy will play the other day, and we'll figure it out when playoff time comes. No, play them.
Right. If you're resting them, rest them. Like maybe rest them both together because they're both key people. Like don't let them feel like they have a bigger role on that team than they should. Don't try and push the ego. They like take your time with it because the team is pretty good.
And realistically, like obviously the Dinwiddie injury hurts, but like I feel like that team has always had they were always like solid regardless without KD and Kyrie. So like against like
Playoffs.
the bad teams in the East and the West, like they'll hold their own. Like they're not gonna get like they even tonight. I mean, I know Ja got hurt and that changes everything, but they were like tied at halftime. I'm not even sure what the end result of that game tonight was, but I mean they were competing and they were fighting.
Ja was playing.
I don't know. At halftime it was they were down. They were up by 1 at halftime, but I don't know when Ja got hurt. But I mean, regardless, they battled. So I mean, that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on the next couple of weeks. And then I guess we could take that and transition to a team, the KD's old team, a team that I thought was going to make the playoffs, and maybe
that's garbage.
Maybe that's not a reality anymore. The Golden State Warriors, and it's sparked some interesting debate. I mean, people are memeing Kelly Oubre because he's like I think 0 for 36 outside of dunking the basketball, which is ridiculous. I mean, Wiggins,
bro, the stats said shots from more than 5 feet away from the basket. What?
Yeah,
more than 5 feet away from the basket.
I don't even know why they said more than 5 feet because like he's 0 for 34 outside of dunks. Like that can never happen through 3 games of basketball on 34 attempts. Wiggins still
focused on painting his nails.
Ball
in the hoop. Ball in the hoop.
Is that as far as you plan to go with that? The painting the nails? All right.
Relax there, buddy.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, no. He just want to be on league fits. Like
Converse.
League fits. He's mad at D'Lo. League fits MVP.
Oh my god. And then so like that, and then Wiggins still does not care because you're paying me $20 million a year to be bad? Sure, sign me up. I'll go out there and pretend every couple of days. And then Draymond hasn't just yelling through his mask, and then Wiseman looks good, so that's nice. That's good for Golden
Steph
State.
is frustrated.
I feel bad for Steph because he's actually out there trying, and Wiseman is really his only hope. And he knows Draymond's not going to make it any better. What you can tell me, I don't think.
I mean, maybe he'll change something. I don't know.
Nah, he will help because they're getting torched. So anything.
2-time defensive player of the year.
Yeah, anything helps.
I understand defensive player of the year, but on the offensive end, Kelly Oubre is not making anything. You think Draymond's going to start hitting shots?
Yeah, but
if Draymond starts hitting shots, I apologize, Draymond, if you ever watch it. But
I hope Draymond's watching.
Be careful what you wish for.
I mean, Draymond just comes in the game 5 for 5 from 3. Oh my god!
The Shoeless Joe said I wouldn't make anything, so I'm here to show them that I would. Nah, I mean,
imagine the views.
Nah, but with the Oubre thing, like, I mean, obviously it's funny now, but like, I don't think like Kelly Oubre showed for us like 72 or whatever. How many games they played plus the bubble? Like, I guess like mid-70s games.
He playing the bubble. He broke his leg.
Yeah, he did get hurt in the bubble.
Oh yeah, but like before the bubble, he was frying. So like, I don't think this whatever streak he's on is reflective.
He's not a bad player.
Like, I just think they put him in a situation where like, oh, Clay's not here. Wiggins doesn't care. All right, I'm gonna try to be a nut, and it's not working out. But once Draymond won't, I feel like Draymond will help that. I guess address that.
Terrible.
Yeah, you saw the video of like he took like a fadeaway like mid range with 3 people, and then Steph was just smiling and shaking his head, and Steve Kerr just went like this. Yeah,
that's bad.
I mean, and like that, the depth is
bro,
nothing.
When we did the preview, that was my key thing with them. I was saying that, bro. They're not deep, and with this whole COVID situation going on, like that's not going to help at all.
And now Marquise Chris is done for the year, so their big man depth is out the window. So I don't. It's interesting because obviously, it's interesting because like what now what? Because like Clay is obviously, I don't think Steph is going anywhere because Clay is there, but like I don't know, like what is their future right now? I mean, I guess you're gonna bank off Clay coming off those 2 terrible injuries, but I mean, I don't think that will change. I think the muscle memory is muscle memory, but like who knows with like the lift in his shot and how that impacts everything. Like Draymond, we haven't seen Draymond be Draymond in like 2 years. I mean, if Wiseman,
I feel like I was gonna say, like, I feel like now, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be in a little bit of a panic mode with Andrew Wiggins because I don't want that contract on my books still.
And nobody else does either. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I mean,
They're banking on Nico Mannion right now.
and like the thing is, like if you're Golden State, like you don't have any depth, and like the only way you're going to acquire talent is through the draft, really, because you're basically in the luxury tax. So what happens when you have to trade? Like if you have to attach a draft asset to Andrew Wiggins to move him, like that just
much.
that's just
It's a bad
cripples
situation.
the way you build your team going forward. So I know Steph would never leave, but like 2022 is around the corner, and if they keep looking like this, I mean, you got to consider it. Like I know you want to be Warriors for life, but you're also not. It's not like you're 36. Like I don't know.
But what else does he have to prove?
I don't think he has to prove. Yeah, but I don't think you want to sit there and lose. Like, especially like he's also in a position where like if he goes and wins 2 or 3 more championships, he's in like a different stratosphere of conversation of like where he is all time. Like he's not like
different stratosphere. I mean, well, I have a different opinion than a lot of people.
Yes, you do.
If you're talking about 5 rings,
The minority. You're the minority.
I am the minority, but I mean, like I have good points.
Wait. What is your
He makes some case.
What is my case?
What's your stance?
He's top 10 all time.
Right now, oh yeah, he's top 10 all time, but he's the second greatest point guard all time.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if he gets 2 more rings, like or
I don't know. I don't know because Magic, that's a big name to play with. So I don't know.
5 rings though.
I listen, man.
You don't think so?
What, are you saying Steph is better than Magic Johnson?
No. If he wins 2 more,
you see, that's why.
So number two. So number 2 is the highest he can get for Obi.
No, if he wins 2 more rings, he got it from me. So I don't really.
He got what? Number 2?
No, the best.
No, number 1.
Yeah, bro. If he just win 5 rings and he's the best shooter to ever touch a basketball, I think he might. I mean, I know Isaiah's biased because he appreciates
Magic Johnson. Yeah,
he appreciates the old time basketball, but
the basketball does evolve. It evolves. So like, I definitely get what you're coming from, Mike. So I'm just not gonna say it because I also have an appreciation for Magic. So like, I feel like that's until it happens, I'm not ready to have that conversation.
Played through HIV.
What?
Steph couldn't do it.
What?
But what I'm saying is Magic Johnson's on a different level, and I don't think you should really mess with the top all time like that. But I do think, in his own right, Steph is great. Like to win the only ever like consensus MVP, unanimous MVP is an accomplishment and a feat in itself.
And to change the game of basketball.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most influential players of all time. That's for sure.
You know what I was thinking? I don't think Steph is influential, but I don't think KD gets enough credit being as influential as he is. Being a 7-footer with guard skills, and that's what a lot of projects are coming in right now in the NBA. They're trying to look for that.
Yeah, but nobody is Kevin Durant though.
Yeah, nobody's Kevin Durant.
I think he's definitely the unit. Like he's the unicorn. He's the one guy who could be that. I don't think anybody else could be that.
No, yeah.
7 foot and move the way he does is different.
And not tear his every ligament in his legs like Kristaps Porzingis.
You're trying to, yeah. I knew where you was going with that.
I mean, you said unicorn, and I had to. What? Now what? You love Kristaps Porzingis now? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro?
I need you to
what are you talking about? Who are you now?
I need you to check, or else you might end up getting a DM you don't enjoy.
Oh shit!
From a Latvian? I see that man lose a bar fight. I'm not worried. Now the thing is with Steph and like the KD thing is like, yeah, I think like the reason that KD might not get that much credit is because like everyone can like, all right, not everyone can shoot threes like Steph, but like everyone can shoot threes. So like for the most part, but no one can be KD. Like no one has that build and that just talent ability. But the way that Steph has forced everybody to implement some kind of 3-point shot. Like if you told me in like 2013 that Andre Drummond would shoot a 3 in the NBA game, I'd laugh at you. And like that's a thing now. Like Dwight Howard putting up 3, JaVale McGee, like that.
Oh, speaking of Andre Drummond, what we got? Because they got to
the Cavaliers.
The Knicks' next victim tomorrow night on MSG.
Next victim when Darius Garland lights you guys up.
I'm saying if they throw Frank out there, Darius Garland's it's gonna be a sad night.
Well, then you got Colin Sexton.
No, it will not be.
Sex led.
I did see that. Larry Nance Jr. Calling the new
Bro,
nickname.
Larry Nance Jr. started at small forward and was frying last night. Oh,
Couldn't do it for
the
Braun.
the Cavs will. I hot take. Write it down on a post. Put it somewhere.
You put it down on a post-it. I'm not writing that.
Ernie, where's Ernie?
Ernie
Not
Johnson.
writing that down.
Cavs will have the most improved and the sixth man of the year. They will own both of them.
They don't have R.J. Barrett and Alec Burks.
Eddie Osman is crying.
Chetty Osman is playing well.
Alex Burks is averaging 19 a game.
Chetty Osman is nice.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I'm very scared tomorrow that like the Knicks are gonna come off that Bucks win, and like if Burks doesn't play, they really might get caught lacking by the Cleveland Cavaliers. I haven't caught.
I'll tell you what, Alfred Payton is probably gonna miss every shot he takes tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I
Magic
can't
is gone.
wait for Darius Garland. Whoever's in front of Darius Garland's face, I'm like, I just want you to watch because you wasn't. Wait, that was you, right?
It's gonna be RJ.
He's about to get fried.
I'm saying, but if they're putting Darius Garland on RJ, it's
he
a
will
GG.
also fry back.
Yeah, like it's a GG.
Oh no, Colin Sexton might have to go.
That's a baby.
I don't care. This guy Colin Sexton can smack the floor and watch people run by him all day. I don't care what he does, bro. I don't care what Colin Sexton
the floor.
does. He is known for that.
Oro.
But now, our last topic on the Shoeless Joe's podcast is a topic that me and Obi have debated on. I don't know if we debated on pod yet, but
We haven't.
We debated a lot off pod.
Bro, as soon as we finish, we always go straight to
off
the
pod. Yeah.
The player who's been talked about as much as anybody else in the league over the last
Fear
month
the beard.
and a half. No fear. James Harden.
Happened.
Wait, 44 and 17? No fear?
I'm saying, like, what the fuck?
No fear.
I apologize, but how you not fearing that, bro? 44 and 17.
17?
And he don't want to be there. He don't want to be there.
Bro, when's the last time someone in the league, like, remember him and Russell Westbrook were getting, like, those grandiose triple doubles? Like, who's the last person to have 17 assists and, like, not score over 10? Like, nobody's even doing that.
Yeah.
Bro, assists only come when you're so good of a scorer to the point where they start doubling you and then you just get the easy jump off, bro, and now you have mad assists. Or you do the between the legs James Harden pass, bro.
Bro, but 44
That's crazy.
17 is ridiculous, bro.
Manipulating the game.
I'm saying, and then when it comes to playoff time.
And he's not even in shape.
Bro, bro, scoring
so?
champ and 17 assists.
You can't give him a cookie. You can't give him a cookie for being out of shape. What do you mean? Be in shape, bro. You're an NBA player. That's your job. You can't give him a cookie.
Easy to him.
You know what I'm saying, but you can't give him a cookie for being in shape. And if you gave him a cookie,
I'm just saying, what if he cared? Well, you must make if you give a mouse a cookie.
I wasn't.
If you give a mouse a cookie.
No. Don't try to put that.
Oh my goodness.
I was gonna make a food related joke, but I wasn't gonna make a book reference. I will not. I'll be honest.
He'll ask you for some milk.
So back on topic, though. Back on topic. Yo, these niggas must have clicked out the pod.
Now he is like, wasn't he getting into arguments? I don't know how this season is gonna go for the Houston Rockets, honestly. Christian Wood is a big bright spot for them though, because he is playing well, but like what James Harden is doing in the practices, like I don't understand where the trajectory is for the team and him together.
I was about to ask who he threw the ball at because I couldn't imagine it would have been Boogie, and I feel
no, it was some unknown.
Good, because if you threw the ball at John Wall, it would have been Gilbert Arenas 2.0. It would not
for real.
It would not have ended well.
John Wall throwing up quick.
It would have been
straight to the locker room.
All right, James. I'll be right back. I'll see you on the plane.
James.
The plane, the locker. Bro, I'm coming right out. You already know about me. It's videos. Y'all know
There's
about
no fans in here.
Nobody's watching. No media, nothing. I bet
the stadium's empty.
All right, but I guess I don't even know what the topic is about James Harden. But I guess
Sean Tate.
Jonte Porter?
No, just Sean Tate.
Oh, that's his name.
What's the name of the guy who got the ball thrown at him?
Don't know who he is, but should have ducked. I it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes now, and what the move is. Cause
one team.
it seems every day he keeps expanding his list and get it. And I don't know. A lot of it could seem like wishful thinking on his part.
Whoever wants me.
He said Portland. I don't know. I mean, I guess they're not
What
giving.
is Portland going to trade for James
3J.
Harden?
Yeah, if it's CJ, then maybe I guess. I mean, they said what did I say? Boston. Like, I mean, if I'm Danny Ainge, if you say you'll take Jaylen Brown and whatever else we got, sure, I'll do it. But I mean, I don't know where else he's
What?
really gonna go.
You would trade Jaylen Brown for James Harden?
Yes,
Yeah,
tomorrow. It's today. Now,
yesterday.
instantly.
Really?
Yes. If you want Semi Ojale or Romeo Langford or
Romeo
Romeo
Langford.
Langford.
Peyton Pritchard, I don't care who you
Yeah,
want,
you
bro.
got
Bro,
it.
I don't think I could do
Carson
that.
Edwards.
Why?
Where's the defense coming from now?
Forget defense. They're gonna score 170 points a
Tristan
game.
Thompson. The best defense is offense.
What?
170.
Jesus. I don't know how him and Tatum would work, but I mean, I would do it. I just feel like Danny Ainge's been sitting on assets for mad long to not do anything with them. So like, you got to do something eventually.
Bro, I didn't even think Boston could pull that trade off. Like, I haven't been thinking Boston. I've been thinking Denver. I've been thinking Denver has the best youngest assets. They have the space to do it without trading Jamal Murray, which is the scary part.
I mean, and the thing is with the package of like Denver is like it'd probably be like focused around either Bull or MPJ, which is like which is like interesting though, because like if you think about it from like a talent perspective, it makes a lot of sense. But if you look at the way Christian Wood is playing, like then like how do you fit
Don't need
those
that.
together? Yeah, like you don't really need a 4.
I mean, like it'll be weird because with Boogie and everything. Well, Boogie's probably gonna.
Boogie's not like you shouldn't be basing the move around if it fits with Boogie.
But I mean, you'll have a full decent future front court at that point because you'll put MPJ at the 3, Christian Wood at the 4, and then Bull at the 5.
But I mean, like if you look at it from like the hypothetical like Jaylen Brown trade, like if you're telling me a lineup of like John Wall, Jaylen Brown, whoever, who like PJ Tucker, I guess, Christian Wood and Boogie, that's not
Gonna be on that squad. He don't want to be there either. But.
Yeah, why does he not like? It was like a contract dispute.
Yeah, it's a contract dispute.
So that's gonna be interesting. I don't know if, yeah, but like how like think about it now. Now with like you look at Brooklyn's package, and one of the key parts of that package is just tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So like
you gotta make this move quick.
Yeah, but they're not I'm not.
Not now.
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie in the trade.
Dunzo.
No.
Dinwiddie in a wheelchair?
No, I'm talking about like Houston Rockets because like I feel like I'd be spooked out. Like now, like you just lost the team.
But that wasn't the like if that was the package they ended up with, like for James Harden, like something kind of went wrong anyway. Like realistically,
no, you're 100% right, but
like
yeah, you're right.
You traded James Harden for what?
I mean, they're playing whatever leverage they have. Honestly, how much can you really? When can you really ever get an equivalent package for James Harden?
No, you can't.
And what he produces, it's impossible. So they're not really going to get that anywhere.
Yeah, but they're also not. I mean, I guess like the stuff that he's doing is also hurting his value, but also like, I mean, like I love like the player empowerment thing, but it's also a point where like it's kind of hard for teams because like you can't just like if he has 2 years left on his deal, like you also can't just like bend and just let him do whatever and let him get wherever he wants just because like whatever. Like I just feel like that is like that those situations make sense where like the team can do that for the player but also benefit from it. But like you can't like you at that point you're talking about I'm gonna build my future around what Karis LeVert, Christian Wood, and a few picks. Like I don't know if that is the ideal scenario necessarily.
No, it's not. But if he's disgruntled and for what he gave your franchise, I think you somewhat owe it to him for. I mean, now the entire relationship seems to be kind of tarnished. But at first, I mean, I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes either. I didn't know the guy was flying back and forth and then having 44 and 17. But I think you kind of somewhat do owe it to the player for what he gave your organization.
I mean, you do, but like, I feel like you do, but at what cost? Like, if it's gonna hurt your franchise long term, like I feel like your job is to win. Like, and I get that. Like, the relationship you have with stars matters, but like if that's gonna impact like okay, like if the whole idea is like, oh, like we're gonna trade him because he wants to leave and like we wanna look good for the next star. If you're bad, the next star is not coming anyway. So you might as well like you have like it's a balance. Like it's not that like the
It's not like
respect thing.
Houston's not a free like. It's not like Houston couldn't get free agents. So
No,
I feel
they
like
yeah.
yeah. So I feel like if I'm treating James like Isaiah was saying, like you want to look good for the next star.
But I think like the only reason people have been going to Houston is because they had a star already. Like the other thing that people go to Texas for is because like there's no state income tax, which is like definitely is a factor. And isn't that why Dwight went there in the first place when he signed? I mean, James definitely had a part to do with it, but I mean, no state income tax does on millions does sound fantastic. So all right, if we had to pick, and like I guess it's a good way to close out this segment. If you in let's see, by the All-Star break, where's James Harden playing basketball? It's a tough question.
The Houston Rockets.
Still thinking Houston.
I don't think he leaves. Sorry to put a dimmer on like and not make it exciting, but like I don't think he leaves. I don't think they can find anything for him. I don't think. I mean, he's playing well now for the team. He's still going to put up the numbers for you, and he's not like trying to throw games and sit out. So I think he finishes out with the team this season.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I feel like kind of getting to that point where he's gonna have to just play it out and maybe hope for next summer to see what happens. But I don't think he leaves. But my destination guess is
I mean, it's interesting because like I agree with you, and I think that he probably will be there. But it's also like that's a very dangerous position for Houston to be in. Holding him past the trade deadline, and then is he have one more year after next year, or is it 2 more years?
one more.
Yeah, sheesh, which is like the Kawhi situation, which automatically brings down his value significantly, and like that's a very scary position to be in. For both parties, I mean, not really James Harden. James Harden's fine, and he will get paid, and he will end up where he wants to be regardless, and within the next 2 years. But I mean, if you're Houston, like you gotta, I feel like I agree with Obi. Like you gotta get him out like ASAP. Like you just got to get something back before it gets to the point of like no return where teams know you have no choice but to take like a mediocre offer. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting and like to see how that team builds. Like how do you like obviously everyone's playing for their job and it's professionalism because it's the NBA, but how do you try to compete for a playoff spot or like even contend in a Western Conference when like you feel like your best player does not want to be there and is not all in? Like that's a very interesting situation to be in.
My lights just turned off.
They did. But judging on this Zoom call, I think they did. But yeah, I mean, I guess on that note, with Obi's lights,
the lights going off.
Obi's lights going off is a sign that this is the end. The phone flashlight is the end of a Shoeless Joe's podcast.
If you made it this far, just put in the comments, why did Obi's lights turn off?
I'm saying.
And Obi will get back to you when he finds out why his lights turned off.
Oh, I know why they turned off. I'm just not gonna say why. I heard something on the staircase. I'll let you guys know. After.
Oh no!
But
all right, well, put your guess, your best guess in the comments,
and also leave a like and also subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, we're sorry. First of all, we're sorry for taking a little break on you guys. But I mean, we had to let everything build up. We had to get the topics ready. We had to make sure we had enough content to talk to you guys about, so you guys would actually click on the video. So thanks for doing that. I
apologize for my light.
We appreciate it, and yeah, like we already said, Instagram, Twitter at Shoeless Joe's Pod. And now we're in the full swing of things. Like we're gonna have playoff football to talk about. And next week we'll have a playoff picture to tell you about, and then and a week after that we'll have playoffs through the Super Bowl.
Giants are in.
I mean, and when they don't, I'll be here to make fun of them. And then
make fun of them.
And then
how about them boys?
You see how he switched
the other half. The other half.
The lights
other half. When the lights go out, the other
I'm saying
half.
The Cowboy fan comes out.
Dr. Jekyll. Dr. Jekyll.
He said, "Who said that?" Anyway,
who's in
here? Who's in here?
No, I almost made a joke that was really bad, and I'll say it after
I'm
after we're
sure
done.
you will.
I'll say it after we're done recording.
Right, that you give a mouse a cookie.
No.
Anyways,
And
thanks
they're
for
back.
tuning into the Shoeless Joe's podcast. If you made it long enough to see Obi's lights come back on.
They're back. Comment they're back. But on that note, before his lights turn off again, we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.